What's going on, guys? Jake here from Floated Marsh Flies. Today I'll be tying a drum beater. It's a Charleston staple originally tied by Scotty to mimic fiddler crabs deep in the grass for those flooded marshes. It's got a great profile, great sink rate, all around great fly. Really love tying it, really love fishing it. It's pretty effective. So anyways, let's get into it. Today I'm tying on a Daiichi 2546 in a size 2. Really like these hooks, pretty strong. I'm also using, I believe this is Danville 210 in a pinkish color, salmon pink, I believe. I'm just starting that thread right behind the hook eye, then making a little bit of a bump for my lead eyes here. I'm using gold lead eyes in large, the black pupil. I really like large dumbbell eyes on these flies just because it helps it sink, it helps it ride hook point up every time. Just going to tie those in tight with a series of X wraps and then wrap it underneath. Really trying to get these tight, make sure they're not spinning. Make sure to tighten your vise too, don't be like me. Make sure it's tight before you start tying. Just giving that a good amount of wraps there just to make sure everything's secure, everything's nice and straight. Then I'm just going to move that thread back to the bend of the hook. And then my next material here is going to be these Magnum rabbit strips from Harline in black. I've just cut the end of it into a bit of a triangle. This is just to make the tie-in a little bit easier, make it more proportional on the shank. And you're going to notice I'm going to flip it here because this fly is going to ride hook point up, so I want that material to be facing upward, the fluffy material, and the hide facing down. And my piece of hide is just about the length of my shank. This is a pretty big fly. It's got a nice profile, like I said. You want nice, even pressure, tight wraps here. And you see I'm wrapping back pretty far here, but I'm going to cover this all up with some Sculpin Wool in a second. Just making sure to tie that down, get it pretty even. Just makes tying in the next material easier. Then up next, I've got some of this polar flash and then a little bit of peacock crystal flash here. Just a mix of the two. Then I'm just gonna fold that on my hook, or I'm sorry, on my thread. Just move straight to the top of the shank and tie that in pretty tight. Make sure it's sitting right on top of that hide. You want this flash to kind of hide from the fish until you strip that fly. It just can make them pay attention sometimes. Making sure to get everything even on the shank. Like I said, it makes tying in that Sculpin Wool so much easier. Looking pretty good there. Next up, I got this Sculpin Wool in black. I like using two colors for this fly. Here I'm using tan, that's just because I don't have a black and tan one in my box, but I normally use black and pink, black and purple. I'll use orange and pink. That's a crazy one. I like the original is olive and pink or cream and purple. I really like those colors too. I was too busy talking, but I got a little bunch of this Sculpin Wool. It's not much. It's just about the diameter of maybe a piece of 80-pound mono. You know what that feels like. And I've just made sure that all the fibers are even, and then I'm going to tie this in with X wraps. In between, making sure to pull it tight. This is just making sure everything ties in straight. So I'm going over the left side and then over the right side. And then I'll also give some wraps in front, and then you'll see I'll tug this material as well. That's just to make sure it's tied in tight. It's not going to pull out on you. And then we're just going to repeat this process, making sure to get each bunch really tight at the last one. But but repeating the same process, just X wraps and then a series of wraps in front. Constantly manipulating that material just to make sure everything's tied in nice and tight. On a size 2, you're normally looking to get about 3 to 4 main color clumps, if that makes sense. So I'm doing 3 to 4 black clumps here. But make sure to leave space for your second color as well. But you can tie that real tight to the dumbbell eyes if you need to. When I get a lot of material that's starting to build up, I like to use these clothespins just to hold everything back. It's like a third hand in a way. It's a pretty cheap hack. Like I said, just continuing this process, just making sure everything's nice and tight. I'll also move that clip just to include that last bunch of material there. And you'll see I've got probably 1/8 of an inch here, but that's just too much for me, so I'm going to add a little bit more black. You can see there I'm just bunching up that material, so I've taken a little clump, I've cut it off, and then I'm just bunching it up, making sure everything's even. I like to use progressively less and less material as I move up the shank, but it's not that big of a deal. Sometimes it's better to use equal clumps, but I just find that it's a little bit easier to tie in. And like I said, Scotty Davis is the creator of this fly. It's an amazing fly. It just looks really good in the water. Catches fish. But of course, all credits to him. Then I've switched to my second color here, this tan. Tying it in the same way. And then I'm kind of looking at it here, it's just not enough for me, so I'm going to add another clump here in a second, but I'm just making sure none of the material's caught, making sure we're nice and even on both sides. And like I said, just not full enough at the front for me, so I'm just going to add a little bit more material. And then I'm just freeing all material that might be caught on the back there, so any flash or any rabbit. And this is just so that I can make it easier to trim. And you'll see right before I come in here to trim this material, I'm just going to do a double half hitch. This is just to keep the thread connected because I'm going to tie in a loop weed guard later. Struggling a little bit with the half hitch. And cutting it is kind of a pain sometimes. I try to use the top of my thumb as a guide. So that's just a nice round surface that I can kind of mimic the shape off of. My advice is take it slow and cut very little material at a time. This is honestly the longest part of this fly for me, but that's just because I'm kind of a perfectionist. The fish don't really care. As long as it's the right color, the right size, and they're happy enough, they'll eat it. And if you haven't fished for tailing redfish yet, it's one of the best things you can do personally as a fly fisherman. I just love it. I just don't get to do it anymore, man. Now that I'm at college, I just get to fish for smallmouth and stripers. Well, stripers when I can. I'm getting skunked lately. Making sure not to try to cut any of that flash, and especially not cut that rabbit. Like I said, just take it slow. Can't put material back on, you know? And I'll kind of fluff it up in between, fluff the material, just to catch any stray fibers that might be evading the scissors. Looking pretty good on that side. Now we're going to try to mimic it on the other side. It's the hardest part. And I need some fly recommendations, y'all. You can either hit my Instagram or leave them in the comments here. I'm kind of running out of ideas. I'm having to go back in boxes and try to find some stuff, so shoot me some stuff you want to see. Like I said, bit of a perfectionist, so really just coming in trying to square everything up here, make sure both sides are even. Really trying to fit that profile of a little crab. We're looking pretty good here, so I'm going to go ahead and add this weed guard. I've just grabbed a 2 to 3 inch piece of 35-pound mono here. I'm just going to double it up over itself and make it into a bit of a loop. Then I'm going to try to measure it and make sure it's just going right below my hook point. This kind of takes me a second. I haven't done one of these in a while. Really just aiming to make sure it clears that hook point. Like I said, you don't want it to crowd your hook point too much, like go over it. That would really mess up your hook-up ratio. So I'm just having it clear just before that hook point. I'm going to try to mark that best I can and then trim off the excess. And then you'll see I grab this mono with my forceps. These forceps have a nice flat part on them, so I crimp them down. Have a nice flat surface to tie into. I'll also bend that mono back. This is just to make sure the hook point, the mono stands straight up. Looking pretty good there. You can see they're kind of at an angle, just makes it easier to tie in. I'm going to try to grab both of them at the same time with my thread here. Just tying in super tight but with even pressure. tying straight on top at first, just making sure everything's good here. And then I'm going to throw a good amount of wraps behind as well. This just helps that weed guard stand up. Just making sure everything's good. Looking pretty good to me. So 2 steps here for me left. Just got a whip finish, and then I'm actually going to add a bit of UV to this fly. Just really helps seal everything together. So I like to throw 1 whip finish in front and then 1 whip finish behind that weed guard there. I'm not sure if the one behind does anything, but it really helps build up that thread back there. Looking pretty good here. Like I said, I'm just going to add some UV to the back of this fly. I'm just using Loon Flow here. I really like this stuff. It sinks into the thread really well. I'm just doing a line across the back, and then I'm going to cover the eyes and then that thread in the front. Making sure everything gets a nice even coat, but you don't want to coat it too much. This flow does a good job of keeping me from overdoing it. Then we're just going to give it the torch, and she's done, y'all. Like I've been saying the whole time, make sure to fish this in the grass. These fish that are looking down, looking for fiddler crabs, this fly's perfect. Just coming in, trimming up any loose fibers. And that's it. That's the drum beater by Scotty Davis. I want to thank everybody for watching. I've really been enjoying this series and hope you keep tuning in. Thanks, y'all.